Thank you for taking time to view this presentation on getting started with data exchange. My name is Michelle Tubbs, and I am the Assistant Director of Data Reporting for the Indiana Department of Education. This presentation will provide an overview of why Indiana chose to move to data reporting utilizing the EdFi standards, when data exchange will be implemented, and how to prepare for the changes in data reporting. Data exchange will implement a solution to improve the transfer and certification of all required student and educator level data between schools and the department. The agenda today will discuss why Indiana EdFi, what you need to know about data exchange, provide you the implementation timeline, your roles, how to prepare, next steps, and provide you with resources for your questions. Core beliefs with IDOE's decision to replace the STN Application Center as a legacy technology were: 1, retaining local choice and control with SIS vendors because of investments; 2, solutions for all data, not just those contained in school software; and 3, relying on reusable and repeatable technologies. IDOE looked at how other states had solved their reporting issues and what were some best practices beyond being compliant. IDOE wanted to get to a place to leverage technology that improves data transaction and data utilization. In researching across the country, the department saw a pattern of the EdFi solution being utilized. Backed by the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, this allows the EdFi data standard and technology suite to be provided to an educational organization for free. With EdFi already in place at the SEA level in 10 states, IDOE had several peers to collaborate with on the use of EdFi. In addition, over 300 vendors have already onboarded with EdFi, and over 30 states have implemented EdFi at some level. EdFi is the magic decoder ring. All education solutions capture similar data elements. However, these data are stored in silos with different naming conventions, making them difficult to leverage or transfer easily. First name may be F space name, or name space first, or first name. They are all the same data but cannot be matched across systems. Enters EdFi. As a common data standard, vendors are able to map a defined vocabulary to resolve these disparities. With the barrier broken, data is freed from the silo and can move between solutions. This is the heart of interoperability. IDOE will lock in data 6 times a year, and educational organizations will review and certify or sign off through the Data Exchange Validation Portal. This does represent an entirely new process towards interoperable integration, moving away from export and CSV updates. IDOE built Data Exchange leveraging the EdFi data standard and technology suite. Indiana has stayed true to the standard, limiting the number of data elements added. There is a difference between EdFi Alliance Certified, which is core out-of-the-box EdFi no changes, and Indiana DOE EdFi Certified. Indiana has about 50 extensions or additional data elements that are not EdFi standard. It is advised SIS vendors seek EdFi certification as it is beneficial to those working in multiple states and will closely align to Indiana. However, EdFi Alliance certification and Indiana EdFi certification are 2 distinct, independent processes. The state will not have access to your data center. You will have access to ours. IDOE cannot get into or access any data in a school's SIS. This is a push of data from schools, not a pull. The department will not be pulling data from schools or from SIS vendors. This system will establish transactional data flowing in real time or per your SIS vendor. The Data Exchange Project is one part of the LINK initiative, consisting of multiple projects improving customer support for schools. Data Exchange will modernize how data is transferred from schools to the IDOE and how schools access record-level data in the IDOE systems. Using a widely accepted data standard compatible with most student information systems, schools will be able to automatically transfer data to the IDOE rather than submitting collections of data as is the current practice. This is an overview of how data will flow through the data exchange system. Indiana schools and districts will work with their SIS vendor to connect to the EdFi Application Programming Interface, or API, and the Identities API. The EdFi API allows required data to flow directly to the DOE Operational Data Store, or ODS. From the IDOE's ODS, data flows through the Business Rules Management System, or BRMS, where data undergoes a series of checks against business rules to ensure it is accurate, meets standards, and all necessary components are present. Data is then available in the Certification Operational Data Store. The Certification ODS connects to the Data Exchange Validation Portal, where schools and districts will review, validate, and certify data required for state and federal reporting. Once data is certified through the Data Exchange Validation Portal, it becomes available in the Certification ODS for official use by the Indiana Department of Education. The Data Exchange Dashboard, a feature that's coming soon, will provide relevant data through a dashboard view. The Identities API allows STN and SPN data to flow and be stored in Master Data Management, or MDM. The Identities API will allow systems to search for existing students or educators, manage the creation or update of STNs and SPNs, and validate STN and SPN submission to the ODS. Schools that do not have a SIS vendor or a vendor that is not Indiana EdFi certified will utilize the 30 templates to upload the required student and staff data, which will connect in the same manner as data coming directly from a school system. The use of the templates will require manual entry of each data element for all students. As an example, attendance will need to be submitted for each student, reporting one record for each day of attendance in the school year. The process of validating and certifying the manually uploaded data will also utilize the Data Exchange Validation Portal. The use of templates is seen as a stopgap process and not a desired end state. The LINK portal will provide users access to the data exchange system. Security coordinators will set staff type assignments for access, and this is consistent with other systems like IntelliGrants. The data exchange system is comprised of components including the Identities API. This will implement the EdFi Identities module for the management of student test numbers and school personnel numbers. Upon completion of the Student Identities API, STNs will be generated from the IDOE. These will no longer be generated from individual corporations or schools. STNs will continue to be 9 characters and will be completely random. The department will not be renumbering existing STNs. An announcement will be made when this transition occurs. School staff should continue the practice of looking up a student to see if they have an existing STN and assign a new number if one is not found. Training will be made available when the transition to the IDOE assigning numbers occurs. SPNs will continue to be assigned for all certified staff from the IDOE licensing department. School staff should continue the practice of looking up staff to see if they have an existing SPN and contacting the licensing department to obtain the SPN from the license if one is not found in the Staff Identities API. Upon completion of both the Student and Staff Identities API, requested changes, edits, updates, or merges to student and staff demographic data will still be handled through a change request process. More information on this process will be provided when the transition is complete. Master Data Management, or MDM, is implementing new structures for managing corporations, schools, and networks configurations, including addresses, grade levels, congressional districts, etc. MDM replaced the master file system. All corporation amendments must still be submitted and approved by School Accountability and Accreditation. The Data Exchange portal will utilize the Data Exchange API Ed5 version 2.4 to allow transfer of required student and staff level data between schools and the department. The Data Exchange API will allow student systems to connect directly with the department's Operational Data Store, or ODS, allowing data to flow through the department. Keep in mind, APIs are not accessed directly, but are a system integration that is a connector between SIS and Data Exchange. The Data Exchange Validation Portal will replace the STN Application Center. The portal will be a new web application for reviewing data transferred directly from a SIS, uploading data from templates provided by the DOE, and certifying or signing off on data 6 designated timeframes during the school year. The Data Exchange Dashboard, which will come soon, will display relevant data for school and district utilization. A few Ed5 terms you may begin to hear are network. Networks are groupings of corporations or groupings of schools. So some of those examples would be dioceses or special ed cooperatives. Also, EdOrg ID or Educational Organization ID. This is the same state-assigned corporation ID or state-assigned school ID. You'll also hear Student EdOrg Association. This would be the students' association to an organization for funding purposes, so the corporation number. The Student School Association. This is going to be the students' association, their enrollment to an educating school. Students Program Association. This is going to be a students' association to a program such as special ed or English learners. MDM, Master Data Management. This is the storage for the STNs, the SPNs, and the school and corporation directory information. A full list of current Ed5 terms can be found on the Data Exchange webpage under the Data Exchange for Schools gear. The Data Exchange site or URL will be provided at the end of this presentation with our resources. Please make sure to review this list periodically as updates will be made. It will be helpful in the transition from the STN Application Center to Data Exchange to familiarize yourself with the Ed5 terms. The department will continue to utilize common terms when we can and relate them to the Ed5 terminology. The next set of slides will inform you of what data will be required for the upcoming 2020-2021 school year and beyond. The slides will also explain the change in when data is reported, cleaned up, and certified. One of the biggest changes with Data Exchange is understanding when the data is to be reported, when the data is to be cleaned up, and when the data is to be certified in comparison to how data is currently reported, cleaned up, and certified through the STN Application Center. IDOE is moving away from an individual use concept and requesting schools to provide the same data over and over in each report, such as a student ID, grade level, and school ID. IDOE is moving towards a more streamlined approach of transactional data flowing and locking in student and staff data 6 times a year for certification. First, when to report. All data should be reported from the beginning of a school year on a regular and consistent basis. Allowing all data to flow from the schools to the department will provide current transactional information for each school. Schools will no longer need to wait for a submission window to open and find any issues in their counts or errors in their data. Second, when to clean up the data. Schools allowing all data to report on a regular basis will see all data conflicts, errors, and informational messages ahead of data needing certification. Data should be cleaned up prior to the actual certification or count date. Schools will no longer need to wait for the submission window to address errors or conflicts in their data. Third, when data is to be certified or signed off. School administrators will be responsible for certification within a few days of the count date or the last day of the fiscal year, June 30th. Data should have been submitted and cleaned of any errors and conflicts by the count date, allowing administrators to certify the data when IDOE makes it available under the Certification tab within Data Exchange. To better explain this process, we will walk through membership reporting and certification as it exists now in the STN Application Center and how it will occur in Data Exchange. The current process is outlined in the top row of the graphic. The current state membership count date is set for September 18th. On the morning of the 18th, membership is open in the Application Center and schools may begin submitting their data. Upon the submission, any errors or conflicts will be provided back to the schools for cleanup. Submission and cleanup continues through Phase 1 of membership reporting. Once Phase 2 starts, only cleanup is allowed and only submission of data will be accepted if the record does not create a new conflict. This process continues until Phase 3 begins. Phase 3 only allows sign-off of the data. During this phase, data administrators sign off stating there are no errors or conflicts left, print out the membership summary reports for signatures from superintendents or directors, and the finance administrator. Once the signatures are obtained, the data administrator then scans, saves, and uploads the summary report back into the STN Application Center. This completes membership reporting for the educational organization by the third week of October. The future state process is outlined in the lower row of the graphic for comparison. Future state membership count data set for September 18th. From the first day of school, data may be allowed to flow through the Data Exchange API, which will provide errors or conflicts to the schools for cleanup. Error and conflict reports will be made available the following morning if data is provided overnight. Submission and cleanup will continue until September 18th. The department recognizes students enroll and exit on count date, so data will not be moved or made available in the certification area of Data Exchange until 1 or 2 days after the count date. This will allow any final cleanup of data required from student movement on count day. IDOE will then take a snapshot or lock in all of this data from September 18th and move this to the certified ODS. Superintendents or directors and finance administrators will log into Data Exchange, review, and certify the data under the Certification tab. Signatures will be obtained within the Certification tab as well. This completes membership reporting for the education organization by the first week of October. This process will be the same for all 6 data reporting certifications. All student and staff data should be coming into Data Exchange from the start of the school year. Errors, informational messages, and conflicts will be made available to allow review and cleanup of data prior to a certification date. Schools will no longer wait until a submission window opens to report the data and find errors for correction. It is important to understand which data and when the data will need to be certified in the 2020-2021 school year. The first week of October, non-certified personnel DOE NE data is expected to be ready for certification or sign-off. This data is required reporting for all public schools, both traditional and charter. The data will need to be submitted prior to October 1st to allow data review and validation prior to certification. The department fully expects schools will need to utilize the staff other personnel template to submit the required data. The template and training on how to complete the template and upload the data via Data Exchange will be available late August to early September. Please note, schools do not have to be onboarded with EdFi or their SIS vendor to have the ability to submit the staff other personnel template. The first week of February, membership data, which includes membership for vouchers and membership for adult learners, will be optional for certification. The first week of April, special education data, which includes special education for vouchers, will be optional for certification. The first week of July, attendance and calendar data will be required for certification, meaning all data will need to have been submitted, reviewed, and validated by June 30th. This data is required reporting for all Indiana school types. One thing to note, school calendar data will still need to be reported in DOE Online to allow other student reporting requirements via STN Application Center. Schools will be required to submit their 2020-2021 calendar information in DOE Online at the start of the school year, in addition to providing their calendar data by the end of the 2020-2021 school year in Data Exchange for certification. Calendars and instructional days will not be certified in DOE Online at the end of the 2021 school year. Also, non-certified personnel data will not be reported in DOE Online. Non-certified data is not a required reporting element for non-public schools and therefore will not be a requirement in October 2021 for these schools. Attendance, calendar, and non-certified personnel data will be utilized from Data Exchange in the 2020-2021 school year. Attendance will not be used within the STN Application Center. It is important to understand these data will be certified within Data Exchange and used for public consumption as well as state and federal reporting. The IDOE is currently working with all identified SIS vendors to become Indiana certified with these 3 data sets to allow all schools to be onboarded for reporting of attendance and calendar information. Schools with a SIS vendor not Indiana EdFi certified or schools without a SIS vendor must utilize the templates to upload the required attendance and calendar information. Templates and training will be available. However, it is strongly advised schools should be connected through an SIS and not rely on the templates for these data submissions. The department wants to make sure all involved in this process understand the requirements to utilize these templates. To submit the calendar, a school will need to report each day for the 180 days they are in session. Schools do not have to provide dates the school is not in session for breaks. However, there will not be date ranges entered, but actual days for each day the school is in session. To submit the student attendance, a school will need to report each day for the number of days the student is enrolled. This could be 180 records for each student. Attendance will be reported for each day present as well as each day of absence. Beginning the 2021-2022 school year, all data will be required and certified through Data Exchange. Data Exchange will be considered the valid source of truth for all student and staff required reporting. There are 6 certification dates, one in September for membership count date, October for pupil enrollment, English learners, certified and non-certified employees, curricular materials assistants, and graduate. December for special education count, February for the second membership count date, April for the second special education count date, and July for all end-of-year reporting, including attendance, additional student information, alternative education, certified employee, certified position, course completion, discipline, graduate, homebound and hospitalized, special education evaluation, special education termination, Title I, and certification of the school calendar. The STN Application Center will be up and running to accept data for comparisons. The STN Application Center may only be utilized for data comparisons. All data must be submitted through Data Exchange for certification. Schools with the ability to submit and certify membership data through Data Exchange in February 2021 school year will not be required to submit data through the Application Center in the 2022 school year. These schools may opt to report data in the Application Center for comparisons of the data coming into Data Exchange. Schools will be required to have one certification of membership data in both the STN Application Center and Data Exchange for comparison purposes before they can opt out of reporting data through the Application Center. Schools that did not have the ability to submit and certify membership data through Data Exchange in February 2021 must submit data through the Application Center in September 2021 for Period 1 membership reporting in the 2022 school year and Data Exchange. Data Exchange will be the source for all data utilized in state and federal reporting and public consumption in the 2021-2022 school year. Beginning in the 2022-2023 school year, all required student and staff data will be reported and certified through Data Exchange. The STN Application Center will be retired and student or staff data will not be allowed for submission and comparisons to Data Exchange. STN Application Center is expected to be available for choice program documents such as submitting choice applications, downloading and uploading endorsement forms. The next set of slides will inform you of different roles or staff classifications that are available in Data Exchange. The staff classification type designates what security rights those staff will have within the Data Exchange validation portal. Staff can be assigned more than one classification to allow accurate reporting of what the staff's role is for the organization. First staff role is the security coordinator. The security coordinator role is assigned by each organization's leader after registering their corporation or school's domain with the IDOE. Each corporation or school may select up to 2 security coordinators. This staff will have the ability to assign and maintain all staff classifications or staff types for the corporation or school. Assigning the appropriate staff classifications will provide the correct access to Data Exchange for their roles. It is recommended 2 staff are given this role in the event one staff is not available when an update needs to be made to an existing or new staff member's security. Security coordinators will have a security access tile in the link portal for setting and maintaining staff roles. Instructions are available on the Data Exchange webpage under the Data Exchange for Schools Gear Security Access, Setting Staff Types or Roles. First steps for the security coordinator is setting the LEA administrator or school administrator role. This role should be assigned to those staff who are responsible for the final review and certification or sign-off of the 6 data certification submission cycles. It is recommended the LEA administrator role is assigned to superintendents or directors of a public corporation. It is recommended the school administrator role is assigned to the director or principal of a non-public school. These staff should be considered leaders of the organizations. The LEA administrator or school administrator will also need the data certification role in order to complete the certification process. With the combination of the LEA administrator or school administrator and data certification role, the staff will have all the necessary security to review and certify final data for the corporation or school. Training will be made available for persons with these roles to understand how to navigate the Data Exchange Validation Portal, how to look up STNs and SPNs or identities, and how to view final data. It is strongly encouraged this staff with these roles complete the upcoming data exchange training. Next is the financial administrator role. This role should be assigned to those staff who are or will be responsible for the final review and certification or sign-off of the 6 data certification submission cycles as it pertains to financial data counts. It is recommended this role is assigned to the financial officer, CFO, etc. of a corporation or school. The financial administrator will also need the data certification role in order to complete the certification process. With the combination of the financial administrator and data certification role, this staff will have all the necessary security to review and certify final data as it pertains to finance for the corporation or school. Training will be made available for persons with these roles to understand how to navigate the Data Exchange Validation Portal, how to look up STNs and SPNs or identities, and how to view final data. It is strongly encouraged staff with these roles complete the upcoming data exchange training. The main role for data exchange system is that of the data administrator. The data administrator role is for those staff responsible for reviewing the data validation results from either a template upload or direct flow of data from the student information system to the IDOE. These staff will have the ability to see all errors, warnings, and conflicts in the submitted data. They will have the ability to export this information to Excel for distribution to other staff for correction as needed. These staff will have the ability to view total student and staff counts for verification. These staff will have the ability to utilize the templates to upload data not supported through the local student information system. These staff will have the ability to look up STNs and SPNs or identities. It is recommended these staff have an overall knowledge and understanding of all student and staff data requirements. Training will be made available for this role to understand how to navigate the Data Exchange Validation Portal, how to review and validate data, how to upload template data, how to look up STNs and SPNs or identities. It is strongly encouraged staff with this role complete the upcoming data exchange training. The data viewer role will have the ability to review data validation results from either a template upload or direct flow of data from the student information system to the IDOE. These staff will have the ability to see all errors, warnings, and conflicts in the submitted data. They will have the ability to export this information to Excel for distribution to other staff for correction as needed. These staff will have the ability to view total student and staff counts for verification. These staff will not have the ability to upload data utilizing the templates. These staff will have the ability to look up STNs and SPNs or identities. This role is for staff that only need to view data. Training will be made available for this role to understand how to navigate the Data Exchange Validation Portal, how to review data, and how to look up STNs and SPNs. Key contacts will also need to be identified. Key contacts are a subset of staff classifications and are utilized for communication from the IDOE. Key contacts do not provide any access or security to data exchange. These will be identified through the security portal. Communication from the IDOE to appropriate staff, key contacts, is critical for effective communication and will allow increased support and notify schools of various opportunities, including financial matters. Schools keeping their key contacts up to date with the IDOE will assist in streamlining communication processes. Key contacts are primarily for corporations and schools. If an educational organization does not have one of the listed key contacts, only those that apply need to be identified. As an example, a special education cooperative may not have a principal and would therefore not list anyone. Users will log in to the IDOE link portal utilizing either their login with Google or login with Microsoft accounts. Once logged into the portal, users will find tiles or apps available depending on the staff roles assigned. Apps that have a lock on the top right, such as Data Exchange, are ones that utilize single sign-on and will automatically log the user into them. Users will no longer need to have multiple logins or passwords. The next set of slides will provide some guidelines IDOE is recommending for corporations or schools to do to prepare for the data exchange implementation. If a corporation or school has the ability and current staff, one recommendation from the department is to form a local data team. This team may consist of current staff already involved in day-to-day data reporting requirements. A local data team may consist of only 2 or 3 staff. Each educational organization may determine what best fits their needs. Some benefits of making a formal data team might be to collaborate and communicate with other school staff, the importance of data entry, data requirements, and getting feedback on ways to improve current data practices. Having a data team identified locally may assist other staff in communicating any concerns or current practices they have encountered with the entry or reporting of data. This may allow organizations to identify and address potential data reporting concerns prior to the implementation of data exchange. A data team could be utilized in identifying if any potential reporting concerns are due to the student software, data entry training is needed, or having better knowledge of the data reporting requirements with the DOE. Another way corporations and schools can be ready and prepared for moving to data exchange is identifying all relevant staff responsible for monitoring and/or entering of student and staff data. It is important staff are assigned to the proper roles within the organization and have a full understanding of their responsibilities when it comes to data reporting requirements. These staff should be members of the data exchange community and be aware of all available reporting resources. These staff should also have the opportunity to receive all trainings made available from the department in regards to data exchange. It is recommended staff are cross-trained to allow continuity of data if one staff member is not available for support of data reporting requirements, data review, data validation, and data certification. At this point, it is the department's expectation corporations and schools have been working with their student information system to ensure they are becoming Indiana EdFi certified, or have reviewed the SIS vendor chart to see their vendor's current status. Schools without a student information system or have a vendor that has elected to not become Indiana EdFi certified will need to have a full understanding of the 30 templates to be utilized for all student and staff reporting. Training will be provided for each template. Schools should have a plan with their staff on expectations of how to enter accurate data, verify data accuracy, and address any current or potential concerns they may have. Educational organizations should make efforts to ensure staff are made aware of and have the proper resources in order to complete their responsibilities in regards to student and staff data reporting. The resources may include knowledge of local and IDOE resources and contacts. It is recommended educational organizations implement or review current protocols and procedures in regards to data reporting. In preparation for data flowing directly from the student information system, corporations or schools should review their processes for data inaccuracies. A couple of suggested areas to review are making sure any local coding being done is consistent across all schools or grade levels. An example of local coding that may not be used the same across the board is attendance and discipline. Reviewing local codes and having these consistent may help eliminate different codes being utilized for the same data element, which in turn may assist in mapping them to state reporting codes. Also, having the same local codes used consistently across all schools or grade levels may assist with internal data analysis. Making sure all local codes are mapped accurately to state codes. An example of local codes that may not be mapped accurately to state reporting codes are courses and discipline. Reviewing local codes mapped to state codes may assist in identifying inaccurate data being reported to the IDOE. This may identify the need to work with staff or the SIS vendor to clean up current mapping settings. In addition to implementing or reviewing current protocols and practices, it is recommended educational organizations work with current staff responsible for student and staff reporting to identify any current needs to manually manipulate data prior to reporting to IDOE. Also, identifying any missing SIS data fields or data fields currently being used to house local data that it is not designated for this purpose. Educational organizations should work with staff and their vendor to resolve these concerns. Another area to review with staff and SIS vendors is the option of defaulting data into the system. While having data automatically default in the system may be time-saving for data entry, this may also allow inaccurate reporting. Defaulting data, such as reporting all students with the language code of English, could create unnecessary failed records if the students already have an existing STN with a language code other than English. Defaulting this type of data could also cause unnecessary cleanup of student records after this information has been reported through data exchange. The data comes from the SIS system to data exchange reporting certain demographic information to the department, which may be used before staff update the defaulted data. This may cause incorrect demographic data being used for state and federal reporting, depending on the timeline of when defaulted data was reported and when the defaulted data was cleaned up. This may also cause incorrect demographic data to be posted out for the public consumption. It is recommended schools utilizing the templates to provide their student and staff data should not fill or preload data. This may cause inaccurate data reporting in the same manner as defaulted data coming from a school using a student information system. Finally, the department recognizes there will also be a need to upload certain data utilizing data templates provided from the IDOE. Training will be made available for using and completing each of the 30 data templates. It is fully anticipated corporations and schools will need to utilize a template to report the DOE-NE non-certified staff report. The data has been reported through DOE Online by filling in a form providing total numbers of staff. The template for providing this information through data exchange will still use the reporting of total numbers of staff and will not report staff by SPN or as an individual record. The department also anticipates the DOE-CE certified employee data will need to be reported utilizing a template. Not all of the information reported currently to the STN Application Center will be required. Salary and contract days will still be required. The department recognizes the information may not be available in all student systems and will provide training on how to submit the data using the staff template. It is important to understand the new templates for uploading data into Data Exchange are significantly different than the current Excel templates available for some of the STN data reports. There are 30 templates, and some of the reports may require more than one template to be used to submit all the required data elements. Some of the templates will require multiple rows of records for reporting student data. An example of this is the attendance reporting template. Each day a student is enrolled and expected in attendance is considered an attendance event. Whether the student is present or absent, a record for each day will be required for each student. This could potentially be 180 attendance event records for each student enrolled. IDOE is working with SIS vendors to identify potential data elements not supported within their software. The expectation from the department is all data should come directly from the student information system if the data element is supported by the vendor. If the data element is supported, schools will not have security rights to upload templates for reporting of that data. Educational organizations with SIS vendors should work with their vendor to identify any missing data fields and if a solution can be made to house and report the data, or determine if utilizing the template to report the missing data is more cost-effective and efficient. Educational organizations without a SIS vendor or has a vendor that is not Indiana EdFi certified will need to utilize all 30 templates to report all required student and staff data. The department, through surveys, will have those schools identified, so all security needs to upload all data elements will be available. If you do not have a student system and you do not intend to obtain a student system, you can contact Data Exchange at doe.in.gov to ensure you are on the list of students needing security rights to utilize all the reporting templates. If you have a student system but the vendor is not intending to become Indiana EdFi certified, you can contact Data Exchange at doe.in.gov to ensure you are on the list of schools needing security rights to utilize all the reporting templates. The next set of slides will provide next steps and resources currently available from IDOE, the Data Exchange implementation. Trainings will be coming. Watch for the communication when trainings will be available. The plan is to have all trainings posted in Moodle in a Data Exchange reporting community. Moodle sign-in will be available through the link portal. Once the community and trainings are ready, the department will make announcements through Dr. McCormick's Friday newsletter, STN support midweek announcement, Choice Weekly, and any other avenues of communication made available. The Data Exchange webpage has been updated. Data Exchange for Schools area has been added, and there are many documents available to assist schools. It is recommended to look over the information currently posted and then check back for anything new. If a document is new or updated and reposted, you will find the word new next to it. And lastly, any concerns from today's presentation, you may email dataexchange@doe.in.gov. Once you begin the implementation process, Data Exchange has been added as a category in the Help Ticket site. Select Data Exchange category and then Implementation. You may also review the FAQ for Schools document on the Data Exchange webpage under the Data Exchange for Schools area. You can find all STN support midweek announcements as well as current reporting layouts on the Data Reporting Help website. Also, feel free to reach out to your SIS support if you have a concern on where to report or how to enter data you have not been storing in your student system. If you need any assistance with mapping your current data to state codes or any other data reporting concerns of this manner. DOE support is available to assist with how to report data in regards to reporting requirements, utilizing templates, error messages, conflicts, etc. Contact your SIS vendor with concerns or support needs regarding how to enter data and extract the data from the SIS system. Thank you for your time today and listening to this presentation on getting started with data exchange.